Today we're working on our inequalities tutorial. Just a quick refresher over how to graph inequalities, which was 4, 7, and then we're going to talk about how to solve inequalities by adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. So this will cover 4, 7 through 4, 9 in your textbook if you have any questions. You also need a yellow worksheet. If you don't have one, you need to see me because that will be important for today's assignment. A quick review, we have graphing inequalities. If there's a line underneath the greater than, less than signs, the dot is going to be colored in. So if your signs look like this with this line here, you definitely want to color in that dot. If there's no line, we just have an open dot. So if your signs are just like this, we leave that dot open, okay? If the variable is greater than the number, draw your line to the right, all right? Also notice that this arrow right here matches what your sign would look like if you're going to draw an arrow to the right. Same goes for if you're going to draw an arrow to your left. So if you can match up your sign to look like an arrow, you know which way your arrow will always go. If you have any questions on this, it's very important. It's worth a lot of points on your test, so please see me about it. All right, now you need this yellow worksheet to take out. When we're solving inequalities by adding or subtracting, we just solve and keep the same sign. It's just like when we solve equations, except we are going to keep that sign that we have. So we're going to do 1 and 2 on the worksheet. So you need to pull that out and do it with me, okay? Number 1 on the 4, 8 side, which is solving by adding and subtracting, we see W plus 4 is less than negative 2. All right? So what I need to do here is just pretend that this sign is like an equal sign and split my equation so there's 2 sides, okay? I want to get W all by itself, so I need to do the opposite operation of a positive 4, which means I need to subtract 4. What I do to one side, I also do to the other. These cancel and I'm left with W on this side. My sign just will drop straight down and stay the same, and I have a negative 2 minus 4, which would be a negative 6. Right here is my inequality. Now I need to graph it, okay? I'm going to go over to negative 6. I'm not going to color in that dot because there is no line underneath this sign right here. And I see that this sign, if I were to make it into an arrow, would point to the left. So that's just the way my arrow is going to go. Make sure you have this completed on number 1, please. All right, let's move on to number 2. Here we see a minus 4 is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to split this equation, and we are going to make sure that we have both sides covered. So I'm going to get a by itself. I'm going to add 4. What I do to one side, I need to do to the other. All right? These cancel. I'm left with a here. This sign will drop straight down, and I'll be left with 4. So if I'm going to graph this inequality, I would need to go over to 4 on my number line. I see that there is a line here, so I'm going to fill in that dot. And my arrow would be pointing this way based on my sign going this way, so I'm going to take an arrow to the right. All right, so that's solving inequalities by adding and subtracting. Now let's switch gears a little bit and solve inequalities by multiplying and dividing. Okay, now this is a little bit different. Remember that if the number you're multiplying or dividing is positive, we keep the sign. In my groups yesterday, we talked about manipulating. Okay, when we're manipulating an inequality, we're changing it. So if we change it with a positive number, everything is fine. It stays the same. If the number you're multiplying or dividing is negative, you need to flip the sign. Okay, so let's do some worksheet examples. Now flip it over to 4, 9, and let's do number 1 on your worksheet there. Okay, we see 6W is less than or equal to 36. I want to get W by itself. When I have a number and a letter side by side like that, it means that I'm going to be multiplying, so I need to do the opposite operation of division. I'm going to divide by a positive 6, so these can cancel. This number right here is positive, so I'm just going to keep that sign. Okay, what I do to one side of the inequality, I need to do to the other. Now I have W left on this side is less than or equal to 36 divided by 6 is 6. So I'm going to come over here to 6. I'm going to fill in that dot because there's a line underneath. And my arrow would point that to the left, so I'm going to point my arrow to the left on the graph. All right, let's do one more. These are a little bit more tricky. Let's skip to number 3, please. Just go down in your worksheet. I see f over 3 is less than or equal to -2. Okay? Now, I want you to solve for f. So I see division happening here. I'm going to multiply by a +3. What I do to one side, I need to do to the other. Okay? These cancel, and I'm left with f. Because this was a positive number, I'm going to keep the sign. So the sign will stay the exact same. And over here, -2 times 3 is a -6. So if I were to graph that, I would put a dot at -6, color it in because I have this line here, and I'd make my arrow going this way. All right, let's find one that you flip the sign on. This is the last one, I promise, okay? We'll do it in a different color. We'll go with our Christmas theme. Okay, let's look at number 6. C over -3 is greater than or equal to 3. All right, now I want to get C by itself. I see division happening here with this fraction bar, so I'm going to multiply by a -3 so these can cancel. What I do to one side, I need to do to the other. Now this number right here is negative, so that means that I'm going to flip my sign. So right away I'm just going to flip this sign. Ooh, sorry, my smartboard went kind of crazy there. Flip this sign from this way to this way. Okay? I'm going to keep the in equal to. That stays there, but you flip the direction of the sign. On this side, these canceled, so I'm left with C, and on this side, 3 times a -3 is a -9. So if I were to graph this, I would go all the way over to a -9. I would still fill in the circle because I have an equal sign, and my arrow would go this way, so I would go this way. All right, if you have any questions on graphing inequalities, it's really important that you clear them up before the test. You have the rest of the worksheet to practice on, and even a couple word problems to get through when you're writing your own inequalities. Give them a shot. If you finish everything, come and talk to me because I have another computer activity for you to do. Have a great day.